Welcome to Modular 4. Hope you enjoyed Modular 3 and passed the quiz. Well, you'd had to pass the quiz because you can't get the Modular 4 video until you pass the quiz on that. A quick reminder, I do want to remind you guys, every now and then you do a quiz and you walk away from it or something goes cuckoo and it turns black. Okay, if that ever happens, again, just basically email us that your quiz 1 or quiz 4 turned black, and then basically we will reset it. Okay, it could be anything that did it, so be aware of that. If the quiz turns black on the permit test, well, you'd already be past the permit test if you got to Module 4. So anyway, so just be aware of that. Sometimes things happen like that. Maybe the electricity goes off in your house and all of a sudden the whole computer shut down. Okay. One time I had my cat jump up, knock the computer down, unplug it, shut it off, went back to the quiz, and then all of a sudden, bam, the quiz turned black. So anything like that weird, text us, email us and let us know that happened. Okay. All right. So let's get into this. We're going to talk about driving practices. This is where we're going to get into the IPDE system that I created and a few other people have created as well. We're going to talk a little bit about fatigue, aggressive driving. I got a real good road rage video. And then we'll go over the quiz, review questions for the quiz. All right, so let's get started. The Smith system, or IPDE system, okay? All right. Usually the Smith system is basically, it's a system that was created back in 1952 by Mr. Smith. And it's a really good system. What I've done is I've done IPD, which is identify, predict the worst, decide, execute, and kind of tied in a little bit of Smith system rules with it. So it's a really good system. How many people you think die every year in car collisions? Okay, usually every year it's about approximately 42,000 people die every year, anywhere from 42 to 54 every year in the United States. Okay, how many drive times do you need to finish? Okay, you need actually 30 with the parent. Okay, and then you're going to need 7 with the instructor. So the parent again wears 2 hats. One hat is the hat for the 30 hours as the parent. Okay, and that don't have to be parent. When I say parent, it could be grandma, grandpa, cousin, whoever's teaching you. Okay, and then there's a 7 drive times that basically you have as the instructor. So you take off your parent hat and then put on your instructor hat. Okay, you'll sign a document as the instructor on the 964, and the instructor is the parent. So be aware of that. Okay. And then how many drive times? I put 7 in there. Those are the 7 drive times you do with the instructor. Everybody in the state of Texas that gets a permit and goes through any type of driver ed does some sort of student log hours. Everybody calls them the parent log hours, but really they're the student log hour of 30 hours. So 30 plus 7 makes 37 hours, plus another 7 watching the parent or the instructor, parent instructor, okay, which makes 45 hours, okay, and there's a few in there that you do watch, go over the car. All right, so be aware of that. How long do you have to do drive times? Okay, well, in my course, you basically have 10 months to finish your class and your drive times, but in all reality, you have 10 months to finish the class. Drive times you have till whenever, okay? All right? You'll just fill the document out at the end and go from there. So just be aware of that. 10 months. What does the acronym SMOG stand for? This is from the course before. Remember, SMOG stands for what? Signal, mirror, over the shoulder, go. Okay? And we talked about that. All right, is there a traffic problem? Yes. There's 5 million reported accidents in 5 million people report collisions every year in the U.S. 4 million people are injured or killed in these crashes. Okay? This is the annual cost of $176 billion. Texting exceeds drinking and driving over teens. So the number one death to teenagers is not heart attack. It's not drinking and driving. Guess what? It is texting. Texting is number one. So I will say, parents, if you're watching this video, or kids, matter of fact, before you can even take your driving test, you have to watch a video on texting. Okay? So be aware of this. Texting has exceeded drinking and driving with teenagers. Where does this money go to? It goes to what? Hospitals, lawyers, insurance, victims, vehicles, replace, so forth. Okay? Where do most collisions occur? Think about that. Where do most collisions occur? You may say the intersection. You may say in a parking lot. You may say this. Most teens, as crazy as it is, most teens wreck usually happen in a parking lot. But where most collisions happen, within a half a mile from the home. Think about it. A half a mile from the home. A half a mile from the home. Okay? Why is that? Think about it. In your subdivision, when you're driving along, there's a stop sign there. How many people you see run that stop sign because everybody runs the stop sign? It's going to be one day when the new guy moves into the subdivision, doesn't know that everybody runs the stop sign, he takes off and goes, and wham, someone hits him. Okay? Most collisions happen within a half mile of the home because you let your guard down. Okay? You let your guard down. So be aware of that. Okay? That's very important. All right? There's a collision every 19 seconds, and there's a death every 12 minutes. What is the busiest day for collisions? Is that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Nope. What do you think? Most of y'all may say Friday because people go out drinking. Well, if they do go out drinking, what day do they come home? Saturday, okay? Actually, the busiest day for collisions is Saturday. Okay, so when you're driving to traffic in the morning at 7 a.m., there's a lot of traffic. And then there's a lot of traffic driving back at 5 p.m. But they're all going the same way. The same amount of traffic happens, okay, on a Saturday. Think about it. When you're, if you're in a big city, man, the traffic's going everywhere. We got an intersection by us, and literally, I don't even want to go that way. There's so much traffic. Okay, we got traffic that on just a regular Saturday. No football. It's not football season. The cars line up from one side and go all the way down 7-8 miles, and it's that way from 9 a.m. to about 3 p.m. on all day Saturday. So Saturday is your busiest day for collisions. Okay, what is the deadliest month? Some people say December or maybe November. Actually, November is the most traveled month out of all the months, but that's by plane, not by car. Okay, the most deadliest month is August. Now, as crazy as this is, a lot of people would disagree with that who live in Texas, okay? If you're not from Texas and you came from somewhere else, you would agree with this because all the other states take a vacation in August. We in Texas usually do our vacations in June or July. And so it's usually because you're unfamiliar territory, whatever. August is your most deadliest month. Texas reports 338,000 accidents each year. 3,600 people are killed in these accidents. In Houston, we have 300 deaths every year, and then sometimes that's higher or sometimes that's lower, just depending. Okay? The most dangerous thing you will ever do is ride in a car. That's the most dangerous thing you'll ever do is ride in a car. Okay? What are the key to all these collisions? Well, the key to all these collisions is space and visibility. Space and visibility. Having enough space around your car and being able to see. Think about it. When a guy gets in a wreck and he hits the other car, the first time some person comes out and he goes, "Oh my God, you're kidding me. I didn't see you. Where'd you come from?" Okay? Now, as crazy as this sounds, and some of y'all will laugh, from 16 to about 24, I probably had more wrecks than there are people buying this course. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of these wrecks were not my fault. They were the other person's fault. But I personally think after going through and mentally writing down and looking at the accident, space and visibility was the key to all of it. Okay? And I'll add just 2% rushing. Rushing. Okay? When you get in a hurry, that changes everything, because you're not paying attention to all the cars that are going to come in and everything. Okay? Now, I told my dad one day, I said, hey Dad, I'm going to open up a driving school. And he fell on the floor laughing. Okay? He fell on the floor laughing because he says, "Boy, you ought to teach them something. As many as wrecks and tickets and all that you had." Okay? Now, the key thing is this. Guess what? Visibility makes up 80%. Okay? And so to avoid these collisions, I'm going to teach you a system called using the Smith system and IPDE. Okay? So at about 25, 26 years old, 27 to be exact, I learned a system called the Smith system. I thought it was the coolest system in the world. Nobody ever told me that, wow, I should clear the intersection left, right, left, center. Thought it was a good idea. Or nobody told me when I took my gas off the brake, okay? Nobody told me take your foot off the gas and hit the brake. Nobody told me that I should look in my rearview mirror to see if I had enough space. Okay? So when I learned the system, I thought it was really cool, and so I put it in here, and so hopefully you'll use it and stuff. We also do this. We do this with a little bit of a commentary driving. Okay? So today we're going to teach you space and visibility. How do we teach you space and visibility? Through commentary driving. And commentary driving is a technique where the driver speaks out loud, saying things over and over. Example, I come up to the intersection and I literally say out loud, left, right, left, center. Okay? It's to remind me to clear left, clear right, clear left, and look center. Now, what out of all those three, left, right, left, center, which is the most important? Some of y'all are going to say left. No. Some of you are going to say right. No. It's center. And why it's center is because if there's no cars coming to the left and there's no cars coming to the right or whatever, okay, left or right, you're going to take off and go. And what you forget is the guy that's going to turn in front of you. Okay? So commentary helps. I will also suggest parents use commentary driving with your teenagers. It will help. A good thing, what I would say is don't get really crazy with it where you're calling, everything out. But parents, what I would do if you're watching this video is I'd get them to call out. I actually have commentary driving in my videos when you get to Module 13, and I show you an example of it. But you could get them to every time they drive is every time they're driving is to basically every time they're driving, basically kind of have them call out the street sign. Hey, the next street sign says 55 miles an hour. Hey, the next street sign says there's no left turn. See what I'm saying? So those are some good things too. So you know that your kid's paying attention to everything. Okay? What I do in the car, driver's ed car, which is real good, I get a folder. Now we'll just pretend this is black. Better than that, I'll use a piece of paper. So imagine this piece of paper is black. So every now and then I'm driving, and so the kid's in the car. Okay, so he is obviously next to me or whatever the way this camera's facing. I'll put my piece of paper up over the rearview mirror. Okay, so I'll put it up over the rearview mirror. All right, and I'll say, tell me the color of the car behind me. Okay, so now that tells you whether the kid's been looking in the mirrors 5 to 8 seconds. So there's little tips as I go through this system to help you pay attention and do in the car. Okay? Why commentary driving? Okay, well, most kids can tell you what 8 times 7 is, or 4 times 9. How do you know this? Back in the 2nd grade, you took out math multiplication cards, or at least we did, okay? And you learn your multiplication tables. You had to learn your 2s. You had to learn your 3s. You had to learn your 4s. You had to learn your 5s. So be aware of that. Commentary driving, saying this stuff over and over and over will help build good habits, okay? You're going to comment on signs, signals, roads, hazards, blocking lines, so forth. Okay? 3 things I want you to keep in, 3 things that I think if you do this system that I have here, again, I didn't develop it. A lot of other people develop it. I'm just kind of taking credit for everybody else. IPDE is a universal word in driver's ed. I don't know if there's a driver's ed teacher that wouldn't know what IPDE is. But I think if every kid forget about what I'm going to say, forget about what I'm going to teach, forget about all of it. If your kid will do these 3 things right here, okay? These 3 things right here, these 3 things. If your kid will always have good front space. The only space your kid, teen, you, the teenager can control is your front space. Always have good front space. Always check your mirrors. Every time you change lanes, every time you slow down and hit the brake, okay? Whatever, okay? And every time you take off, clear the intersection, okay? Clear the intersection. I think if you do these 3 things, I can almost guarantee you a 95 to about a 98% chance you will never get in a wreck. Okay? Now that sounds pretty wild. That's a pretty good, strong thing there. But think about it. When I go through this system, notice how many times I talk about front space, checking your mirrors, clearing your intersection. Okay? So, again, here we go. Let's get into this. So I'm going to play a little awareness video here in a second, okay? Now, on this awareness video, right when it plays, he's going to ask you a question, and I want to alert you to it, okay? And so I bet you cannot tell me how many times the white team passes the ball. I think he's going to say white team. I don't know if he says white team or black team, whatever. And they got shirts on, so they got a white shirts or they got black shirts on. I want you to really focus in. How many times does the team pass the ball that he says passes the ball? Here's the video.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Go!
Okay, we're going to start with identify. How'd you like the video? Did you see the bear? Okay. Now see, we're so focused on the passes that some of you probably didn't see the moonwalking bear. Okay. Now, if you want to go see this without reversing the video or play the video back, you can YouTube moonwalking bear. YouTube it, moonwalking bear, and it's a really, really good video. And it helps you focus in on what's going on. So kind of be aware of that. Identify, okay? Identify. You need to identify. There's two things you're going to do here. You're going to aim high, and you're going to get the big picture. Aiming high. You're going to aim high, eye level, okay? So eye level, all right? You're going to look 15 seconds or a block and a half up the road, okay? You're going to look 5 cars up the road. That's key, looking 5 cars up the road. Don't just look at the bumper of the car in front of you. You're going to look 5 cars up the road. What will this do for you? This will keep you in the middle of your lane. This will open up your peripheral vision, okay? And this will help you prevent from being trapped. A little trick I'd like you to do. Go take a chair. I want you to take a chair, put it down. I want you to walk away like, let's say, maybe 10, 15 feet. So just count off, you know, baby steps, like 15 steps, okay? I want you to put a book on the ground. And then what I want you to do is have someone stand 30 feet or 25 feet away. And I want them to hold up how many fingers on there, you know, 4, 2, whatever. Hold up some fingers. And I want you to look at them. And then you can see the fingers. And then what I want you to do is stare at that book. Look at that book. And look, as you're looking at the book, they're going to hold their hand up high and, you know, hold 4 or 5, whatever. And see if you can see how many fingers he's holding up by just looking at the book. You can't do it. Now, if you look at the guy holding the fingers up, you can gradually kind of see the book a little bit, which the book represents what? The bumper of the car. So I'm trying to get you to look out there, past the car, 5 cars up the road, okay? Because if the car way, way up there hits the brakes, everybody else is going to do a domino effect to hit their brakes, and you've already, what? Getting ready for my next word, not here, but the next P in IPDE. Okay? All right, so aim high. Next one is get the big picture. What is the big picture? The big picture is 360 degrees around the car. It is the front of the car. It is the back of the car. Okay? It's all clippers. What is clippers? What do you mean? Clipper is anything that can take you out. Okay? Anything that can take you out. So I'm driving along, and all of a sudden, some car from the parking lot's coming up real fast, and then all of a sudden stops. Well, how do you know he was going to stop? Okay? You're watching that. Okay? So be aware of this. So this is get the big picture. How do you get the big pictures? By your mirrors. Having a 5-second rule. Okay, or 4-second rule, or 3-second rule, or 2-second rule. Okay, and I've showed you that in the last chapter about the second rule. Moving your eyes, checking your mirrors every 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, smog, what is that? We talked about that. Smog, changing lanes. Okay, signal, mirror, over the shoulder, go. All right, so be aware of that stuff. Now, our next word is predict the worst. Our next word is predict the worst. You will do one thing here, okay? So all of a sudden, I'm identifying the problem. I see that the car is going to change lanes, all right? Is he going to pull in front of me or not? I'm going to predict that he is going to change lanes right in front of me. See what I'm saying? Or I'm driving along and there's a car that comes up. He's fixed to pull out the barbecue place or the high school. You're coming down the lane and he's fixed to pull out of high school. I want you to predict that he is going to pull out in front of you. Don't say, oh, he's going to stay there. He's not going to dare pull out in front of me. No, predict that he is. Then your mind's going to be set, ready to go. You're going to be ready to keep your eyes moving. Okay? So, keep moving. What do we do to keep our eyes moving? We move our eyes every 5 seconds. We check the mirror every time we slow down. Okay, so every time we slow down, we're going to look in the mirror. Every time we slow down, we're going to look in the mirror. Okay? All right? What will this do for you? It'll open up your peripheral vision. Okay? So all this 180, it'll open it up. All right? It'll keep you from fixed stares. Remember, we're driving along. Okay? You know, all of a sudden we're looking over here or we're looking over there. hey, hey, or you're driving along the seawall. Well, we have in Galveston, we have a seawall, and you're driving along and you see all your classmates, and they're all in their nice swimsuits, the guys and the girls and all that, and you're like, oh, wow, look at her, and all of a sudden you forget it, and bam, you run in the back of the car, okay? Or, hey, man, did you see that sale of pennies? Oh, my gosh, look at it, okay? Or, oh, wow, look at that nice car. Man, that's a cool-looking car. And bam, you run into someone else. No fixed stairs, okay? Helps you clear the intersections. And how do we clear the intersections? Looking left, right, left, center. Left, right, left, center, okay? So be aware of that. Now, this next video I want to play is basically a video on why we stop at intersections, okay? It has music to it, but the key thing I want you to do in this video, okay, because I'm not going to be able to talk while this video is going. I'll talk on the other side. I want you to look at every single time a car has a collision with another car, could it have been prevented? Even if you have to pause the video and say, man, we could easily how do cars do this? Okay? Okay? And not all these cars are drunk. They're just people that run red lights. All right? So, let's get ready for the video. Okay, how was that video? Okay, see how sometimes the car would turn, okay, and the guy would run through there and hit him, okay? So, you know, kind of be aware of that. I know the very last part of that video was really gruesome, where as the guy flipped over the motorcycle. So anyway, again, I think all those wrecks in that video could have been prevented by having good front space, clearing the intersection, okay? All right, so all of those, keep those in mind. Our next word of IPD is decide. So let's get in there. I am identifying the problem. The kid's going to pull out of school. He's going to pull right in front of me. Okay, so I identify the car. I don't have eye contact with him. Okay, I predicted the worst. I predicted he's going to pull out from me. Now he does. Now I need to make a decision. Do I have good space around me, the front and the back of my car? Am I going to be able to just pull it over to the next lane? Okay, so kind of be aware of that. Now I'm going to make some decisions. And how we make those decisions, we're going to do one thing here. We're going to leave ourself an out. Okay, how do you know if you left yourself an out? By having what? Good space. Okay, all right, leaving yourself an out. How do you know? Are you able to change lanes anytime? You know if you left yourself out, if I could change my lanes to the left or change my lanes to the right or so forth, okay? You know if, remember, we're going to always have good front space, right? Could we speed up? Now some people say, why would you want to speed up? Well, if I'm already halfway through the intersection and I look and I see the car is going to run the red light, I could speed up and hurry up and get through this intersection before he did it. Even in the video, there's a couple cars that almost made it through. Okay, they would be stupid if they stopped because the guy would have really drilled them at the last second. Okay, so be aware of that. And then, could I slow down at any time? Okay, are there any tailgates on me? Okay, so I always tell everybody to sort of have like a good diamond space. Okay. All right, so this is my car here. All right, let me change colors here. So if this is my car, I want to be able to have good front space. So good front space, good back space, and I want to be able to at least change lanes to either this side or I want to be able to change lanes to this side. I want at least one side or the other, okay? And if you do that all the time, you're always focusing on that, I think it'll help you prevent wrecks, okay? And then our last one is execute. The one thing you want to do here is make sure they see you. So I'm driving along, the kid's fixing to come out of the school, all right, or parking lot or whatever, and the guy's looking at me. I don't know too many people, okay, that are basically looking this way as the cars are coming, okay? I'm physically looking at the person out on the roadway where I'm in the parking lot, okay? And then all of a sudden they go. They see you and go, okay? It's like this. If he's going to make his right turn, he's going to turn and follow his eyes and make that right turn. Okay, follow his eyes and make that right turn. Whatever. He's going to look where he's going to turn. So if his eyes and head's not looking at you, then you know the guy's coming. Okay? So how do we make sure they see you? Get eye contact with them. Again, if it's dark, you're not going to be able to do that. Your headlights are on. Okay? Another thing is your brake lights behind you. Okay? Letting people know behind you. Again, we're going to talk a little bit later on in this chapter about road rage. I tell everybody, you don't pop your brake lights at the person behind you. Let me just tell you, a tailgater, a road rage person cannot stand a slow person. If you got a tailgater, just take your foot off the gas and coast. I promise you, the tailgater will find everything under the sun to go around you. I've seen people go in the ditch to go around you. A tailgater cannot stand a slow person. But if you keep popping your brake lights, now he thinks you're trying to take him on. okay? And then he could drive by, pull out his gun, and just shoot you, okay? Which I've seen, not seen, but I've heard a lot of stories about, okay? Doesn't happen all the time, but you don't want to rattle the road rage person, the tailgater, okay? Again, use your turn signals all the time when you're turning or you're turning into the parking lot, okay? And then a friendly tap on the horn, okay? We're not blowing the horn, you know, and then raising the middle high five finger, you know. We don't want to do that, okay? What we're trying to do is that if that guy is coming out, he's right here. Okay, let me do it this way. He's right here and he's coming this way. If this car is starting to roll or this guy's looking this way, no, I'm sorry, he's looking that way, all right? Then he's, you know, he's not looking at you. Or if the tires are still moving, you know he's not looking at it. I'm probably going to go beep, beep, okay? Most people on beep, beep will look to see if it's just their friend. Most people will look when they hear a beep, beep, okay? They get ticked if you hear a laying on the horn. We don't need to do that. Friendly tap of the horn, okay? All right, what are we looking for? What are we looking for? What I mean by this is people are coming out of the parking lot. You're on the main road. We're trying to see where, or we're at an intersection, okay? And it's our turn to go. Is the other guy, is his eyes looking at us? Or is his wheels stopped? That's what we're looking for, okay? In a driver's ed car, when I go out and teach driver's ed teachers all the time, I'm looking for the car that, you know, the car comes in and it dipped, but I'm waiting for that dip to come back up, okay? That means they stop. Or I'm waiting to see if that guy's looking at me. So he's looking at me, or I see his face looking at me, his eyes are looking at me. Or I look at his wheels, and if I can see the wheels stop rolling, okay, then I know that basically he's making sure he sees me, okay? So pretty good. That's identify, predict the worst, execute, okay? I mean, decide and execute. So IPDE, all right? So just a little bit of drawing here. So we're going to talk a little bit about this, okay? I'm making sure they see you. So let's go here. Alrighty, here. Okay, so we got this, got this. So we got this car right here. Okay. Let's draw a crosswalk here. All right, let's see if I can erase this. All right. So we got a crosswalk right here, and let's say this car is up here kind of like this. So he's crooked and he's way up here, okay? And you are, let's say, in the green car here, okay? All right, so how do you know that this guy right here in the red car is looking at you? So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for his eyes right here, okay? Or I'm looking for his wheels. Is his wheel stop turning? This guy's very aggressive. He's ready to go, okay? Especially he's up into the crosswalk, past it. He's been waiting there a long time. He may be moving up. Okay, I'm not gonna stop here. Okay, so I'm not gonna stop here because if I stop, I got cars behind me gonna run in the back of me. I don't have a stop sign here. Maybe he has a stop sign here. Okay, so be aware of that, making sure they see you. Okay. All right, now we're gonna watch a little video of the yellow arrow light. I thought I put this in there. This is pretty new. Especially if you live in a small town, because in a small town, all y'all have is stop signs or yield signs, okay? You might have a flashing yellow light, and you might have a, a flashing yellow light, and you might have a, obviously a flashing red light. Out here where we are, we kind of got rid of a lot of the flashing red lights and the flashing yellow lights. What they replaced it with is what we have here is the yellow arrow light. Okay, what we used to have is a stoplight that was green, had a green dot. Okay, so let me circle this. So it had a green dot, then it had its yellow, and it had its red, okay? But we would see this at a left turn. So we're going to make a left turn, all right? And what's funny is, what's the first thing everybody thinks when they see green? A green dot means go, okay? Well, in this particular video you're going to see here in a minute is the yellow. They changed the green arrow to a yellow flashing light. And all that means is you can go when it's clear, okay? So watch the video and it'll be really good for you.
Some people make the wrong choice on the green ball or get easily confused.
The green ball causing confusion that Brian Moen is talking about is a left turn traffic signal. The Assistant Director of Engineering Services says the current system sends mixed signals. That's why the City of Frisco is joining the nationwide effort to replace the old left turn green ball with the flashing yellow arrow beginning in April 2012.
We've always been taught green means go, you have right away to go. And in the past, we've always had to have that supplemental sign telling people, well, green means go, but in this case, you still need to yield. But we've also always been taught when there's a flashing yellow that it means caution, you need to pay attention to what's going on.
We traveled to the city of Richardson to see how the flashing yellow arrow works. Moen says the change in color and shape alleviates confusion while reducing the number of crashes related to left turns.
Studies have shown over the past 10 years that using the flashing yellow arrow is comprehended better by drivers, and they've also seen an improvement in safety. So that's first and foremost why we're doing it.
The city of Richardson is seeing positive results.
We changed to this standard approximately 2 years ago because we know that accident rates will go down.
Besides reducing accidents, engineers say the flashing yellow arrow gives them more signal timing flexibility, which is important during special events, emergencies, and heavy traffic flow.
There's only 60 seconds in a minute, and we partition the time around, and if the left turn arrow was always going to come on at the beginning, and the cars coming down from the preceding intersection didn't get there at the beginning, those people would miss the arrow and have to wait maybe till the next cycle to come around to turn on a green arrow if they needed that to turn, where in this case now, we can have it be there when they're going to be there to use it.
The Federal Highway Administration initiated the flashing yellow arrow for left turn lanes several years ago. FHWA required states to adhere to federal code or establish their own.
If you're in Texas or you go to Missouri or wherever and you see this left turn display, it's going to be operated the same way everywhere.
Texas included the flashing yellow arrow in its manual on uniform traffic control devices in December of last year. The city of Frisco will install flashing yellow arrows at 4 existing left turn locations beginning in April. Moen estimates it could take 2 years to retrofit remaining signals, but all new traffic signal installations will include the flashing yellow arrow.
I think it'll happen pretty quickly. I think it's very intuitive. What you should do, and that's one of the reasons why the changes to it. That's what the human factor studies were finding is more intuitive to people to yield. You can turn left on this, but you need to yield to oncoming traffic.
It's a change designed to improve efficiency while saving time and lives. Moen says it's a positive sign with no turning back. Dana Baird for the City of Frisco.
All right, we talked a little bit about some driving practice, mental, emotional, physical. We did talk about a little bit of those, okay? We're going to talk a little bit about road rage, all right? We don't want to be taking on road rage. We want to make sure that the road rager, I don't want to go into it, but I have a very long story, a very good. I actually had a road rager follow me a long way. So I'm talking, I literally, to avoid him, cut through subdivisions. And he cut through the subdivisions following me, okay? Did nothing to him other than I pulled out in front of him. He got on my tail, and I was taught in driver's ed that you pop your brake lights at him, okay? All right, we don't do that anymore. We slow down, okay? Just take your foot off the gas, start slowing down. I promise you the road rage person, I want the road rage person to be in front of me, not behind me, okay? So we'll be showing you a video here a little bit. Read through this in your learn part. All right. Negative motion distractions sometime effect upon driving tasks. So remember, That emotions can interfere with the ability to think, create mental distractions, create inattentiveness, cause the driver to act out emotions. I'm already mad at my boss fired me or whatever. I don't know, something. I'm mad at my girlfriend or I'm mad at my wife, whatever. And then the other guy drives over and shoots the bird at you. Now I'm even more mad. Okay. So you might want to act out on them. All right. Create lack of concentration, interrupt ability to process information. Okay. A driver must have physical skills, ability to control direction, acceleration, deceleration. A driver must be able to start the vehicle's engine, shift gears, depress the pedal, so forth. So heartbeat increase, breathing quickens, palms start sweating, feel exhaustion. You're getting there. You're really getting riled up. So be aware of these. Okay. All right. Sometimes I tell people on road rage, just pull over, get out of the car. I used to drive in the 5 o'clock traffic. I could not stand it. As soon as I was done with that job, I'm telling you, from there on out, I always drove. So the traffic would go east and west in our town. Okay. I always made sure I was going north or south. Okay. Or I was going the opposite flow of traffic. So if traffic was coming in, I made sure my job was when I was going out, okay, as traffic was coming in, and then vice versa on the other way. So anyway, you might want to get out, wait for traffic, leave earlier, do stuff like that. Read through this on the Learn stuff. It's pretty good. Again, more road rage stuff. Talks a little bit more. This link here in the Learn part, look at that. Talk about disabled drivers. So be aware that there are disabled drivers that you don't even know in the car. And I'll promise you, when they're driving, they look like a normal person until they get out of their car and they're in the wheelchair or this or that. Funny story, I had a guy that took my defensive driving class when I used to take defensive driving, ticket dismissal. If some of you don't know what defensive driving is. And he came in scooting on a skateboard. He had no legs. So it was a 2-day class. So we did 3 hours one day, 3 hours the other day. And I said, man, I'm going to get there early. I want to see this guy come up. And so when he came up, I walked over to him. I said, listen, how did you pass your test? He says, well, when I went to the DPS test, I had a 2x4. And so I went over, watched the car. Before he got out of the car, he pushed on that 2x4 and everything, showed me. I thought it was the coolest thing. When he got out of the car, he hopped on his little skateboard, scooted into the classroom, hopped up on his chair. Thought it was pretty cool. So anyway, so read through that. Talks about the NHTSA Act, the American of Disabilities, and good habit development. Distracted driving. I think that one of these videos is going to be distracted driving. Again, before you take your driving test, a couple weeks before you take a driving test, you got to watch the Impact Teen video. It's a free video. It's 2 hours if you're a teenager, and you got to watch it before you take your test. All right, let's watch a video on distracted driving. Again, we're talk a little bit about route planning. All right, so know where you're going. Again, most of the time you can have in Texas, it's no cell phone device, but you can have this on a place right here doing your directions or whatever. So be aware of that. But it's hand freeze in Texas. So know your route plan, where you're going to go. Okay, and then again, we got commentary driving. We talked about this. So I have a very good video. It's the neighborhood lesson, and we commentary in it. It's something to help you out. All right. Now, we're going to watch a video on flashing lights. This is very new. I mean, this has been put in probably just the last year. Okay. And what this was a requirement by the state of Texas to talk about how we handle when you get pulled over by the police. So flashing light stands for the police light, okay? So watch this video. On the other side of the video, we're going to talk a little bit about the video and some stuff to be aware of. Thanks.
I'm State Senator Royce Wesson. Welcome to the Citizens Law Enforcement Interaction Training Program, a byproduct of the Community Safety Education Act passed during the 85th legislative session. The goal of the act was to define the behavior expectations of citizens and law enforcement during traffic interactions. We know that in some communities there's an issue concerning trust between law enforcement and the community. This particular legislation is designed to ensure that we address that particular issue. We're addressing that issue through training in the academies, our law enforcement academies, our schools, and our driver's education programs. More specifically, schools are having to design a course to define what the behavior expectations are of citizens, specifically students when they're in school. Secondly, we're making certain that every person who takes a driver's license test receives content that's designed to define the expectations of that citizen when driving a vehicle and stopped by law enforcement. In your particular instance in the academy, we're making certain that you understand what your responsibilities are and our expectations of you when engaged in stopping a citizen on a traffic stop. This content is designed specifically to make certain that the trust factor between law enforcement and citizens is stronger than ever. And of course, Texas is leading the way. I want to thank you for being a part of law enforcement, for choosing law enforcement as a career, and more specifically, making certain that you internalize this particular content and use it in your everyday practice. Thank you very much.
Okay, please go faster because I am running late. I will not make it.
I'm going as fast as I can.
Please, just go through the light. Just don't let that light turn red.
Okay, fine. I think we're getting pulled over.
What? Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh no.
Obviously, if I go over the speed limit, we're gonna get pulled over.
Passenger, put your hands on the dash. Passenger,
Ma'am,
put your hands on the dashboard.
Thank you.
Driver, put your hands on the steering wheel. My name is Deputy Larry Hatch, Travis County, Precinct 1. The reason why I stopped you is speeding 45 and 35. You have a driver's license, proof of insurance, ma'am? Thank you. Sit tight for a second, I'll be right back with you. You'll be asked to sign a citation.
This isn't saying that you agree. It's just saying that you're going to follow up with the court.
Now you're going to be issued a citation for speeding 45 and 35. It's not a admission of guilt, but a promise to appear to court. You sign right here at the last line, at the bottom line right there.
You will get a copy with all the information you need.
You'll receive a notice in the mail. You got 30 days to appeal. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Penn. The video you just watched is intended to show you what not to do when you're stopped by a police officer. But what is the right thing to do? How should you as a citizen handle the situation? We've asked a cross-section of high school students and ordinary citizens to help us out by asking some of the typical questions that you might have about the right way to handle yourself if and when you get pulled over. Let's get right to it.
What does the officer expect to see when he approaches our car?
Officers don't always have a clear view into your vehicle. Keep your hands visible. Don't move around. Don't reach for anything. For example, you can place your hand on the steering wheel in the 10 and the 2 position. That makes sense? Take a deep breath. Breathe, relax, wait for the officer to approach, and he'll give you further instructions. If it's dark, turn the overhead light on.
Why does the officer tell us to roll down our windows? What's that all about?
On a traffic stop, the officer may ask you to roll down your windows for his or her own safety. Under certain circumstances, when there's not a great deal of illumination or when the windows have a tint, the officer may require you to roll down the windows to identify anybody who may be in the back seat.
What happens if I don't want to show you my driver's license or tell you who I am?
If you refuse to show your driver's license to an officer when he stops you on a traffic stop, the officer can arrest you for refusing to show your driver's license. And under certain circumstances, if probable cause exists, the officer may also require the passengers to identify themselves.
What happens if I don't have my driver's license with me? Will I be arrested? What if I just forgot it at home?
An officer can usually verify that you have a license once he obtains basic information from you. Depending on local law, you may be arrested, but most likely you will only get a citation.
Do I have to get out of my car? I'm not a criminal.
Most of the time, an officer will actually get out of the vehicle for safety. You will be amazed how many times an officer and/or his vehicle are struck by another driver while conducting a traffic stop. If the officer asks you to get out of the vehicle, it's for your safety and also for his. Put it this way, nobody wants to be standing 6 inches from the highway with their back to traffic.
What if I'm a passenger in a stopped car? Can I ask questions?
Many times passengers want to get involved with what's going on. Generally, we're only going to speak with the driver unless a passenger has done something wrong. The officer should only conduct business with the driver. It's up to the driver to pass on the information to the passenger.
Is forgetting to use my signal or going a few miles over the speed limit really a big deal?
Traffic law is all about everyone's safety. Most of the time, officers look for traffic violations in areas where there have been accidents, citizen complaints about traffic, or areas known to be dangerous like construction zones, narrow streets, hills, blind curves, that sort of thing. When an officer makes a traffic stop, it is about getting people to drive safer. So sometimes, yes, not using that signal can be a big issue. Think about the last time someone didn't signal and cut you off.
Why should I sign a ticket? I don't want to look like I agree with it.
Look at the ticket as a personal recognizance bond. You're signing it to say you will contact the court so you can be released to go on your way. If you don't sign the ticket, then you can be arrested and taken to see the magistrate at the jail.
Okay, so I signed the ticket. What happens next?
The law says you have to be given at least 10 days to contact the court to state what you plan on doing. At this point, you have options you can discuss with the court. You can ask to go to trial and have a judge decide your case. Some courts allow you to plead no contest and take defensive driving courses to then have the ticket dismissed. Or you can just pay the fine. If you don't have the money right away, almost every court will work with you to set up a payment plan. There are other options that you may have that vary court by court. The big thing is to ask and be sure to do it before the time set on your citation.
What if I think the officer acted inappropriately or was rude or didn't have a reason to stop me?
Hey, if you think the officer acted inappropriately, was rude, or didn't have a reason to stop you, remember, you can take it to court. A court will have the final say on whether or not you violated the law. If it's about the officer's behavior or treatment, please contact that officer's employing agency. They have investigators that will contact you, and they will thoroughly investigate the complaint. Don't forget that most officers in this state and even across the country now have either in-car cameras with audio or on-body worn cameras with audio, so that will be the beginning point of the investigation. After the department investigates your concern or complaint, they will contact you, let you know what the results were, what their findings were, and let you know what action, if any, was taken.
Do I have to let an officer search me or my car?
You have the right to deny a consent search of your car, and even if you say yes, you can change your mind at any time. A consent search means that the officer is asking you for permission to search your car. However, if the officer has probable cause to search, they do not need consent. As far as a person, an officer can frisk a car. For example, if you are asked to get out, the officer can look inside before you get back in to see if there is a weapon within reach of the driver.
So now you have a better idea of how to handle the situation. Let's wrap things up and take another look at our traffic stop and how it could have turned out better.
We had pizza yesterday.
No hamburgers, since I don't eat red meat.
That's right. Got a non-meat eater over here.
What about snappy salads?
Ooh, snappy salads.
Yeah,
Talking my language now.
Been there a long time.
What you gonna get?
Salmon on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Make my own half snap.
Mm-hmm.
Salmon.
Mm-hmm. Hey, this man have brake lights on?
Doesn't look like it.
I didn't see brake lights on that one. So, you're getting pulled over.
Don't panic. It happens.
Put on your signal and look for a safe place to pull off the road.
Bravo 742 traffic. It's going to be a Texas tag. George King 430 Lincoln. Occupied 1.
If you can get into a parking lot, great.
Put your car in park.
Roll down your windows.
Turn off your engine.
Keep your hands on the steering wheel and wait for the officer.
You will be asked to show your driver's license and insurance.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, officer.
Officer Opros, Dallas Police Department. You're being stopped today because your brake lights are out. Is there any reason your brake lights are out this evening?
No, sir. I didn't realize it was out.
May I see your driver's license and proof?
Do what the officer asks. If you have to reach into your console, let him know you're about to do it. You're in my console. Let me grab it.
Okay, go ahead.
Here you go, officer.
Thank you, sir. I'll be right back with you, okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
The officer may ask you to get out the car.
Just follow the instructions.
Stand where you're asked. It will be the safest place. Stay out of the car until you are told to get back in.
So where are you coming from tonight?
I'm coming from class. I had an exam today.
What kind of exam?
I had a history exam.
History exam.
Yes.
How did you do?
I think I did pretty well. We will not find out until tomorrow.
Oh, well, good luck.
Yeah, thank you. I
hope you
appreciate
did
it.
well also.
I hope I did too.
I wasn't very good in history.
No?
No.
What's your favorite subject?
Math.
Math? Not really that smart for math, but hopefully you get math a lot more than what I do. Wait for the officer to tell you it's okay to leave.
All right, sir. Here's your driver's license and insurance back.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're all set. Just a warning for the brake lights. You're free to go.
Thank you, sir.
Drive safe.
Thank you. You have a great night.
You too.
Have a good night.
You have a great night, ma'am.
Thank you.
Look for a safe spot to leave. Usually the officer will wait for you to leave first.
On behalf of all the state and local partners that brought you this training video, thank you for watching. And safe travels across the great state of Texas.
We just want to keep everyone safe and get to our home at the end of the day.
Flashing lights, okay? It's created interactions between citizens and law enforcement. Obviously, the state, and there's been a lot, and you know, in the last couple of years, it's been a lot talk about what do we do when the cop pulls over. Some people don't know, okay? I was taught in my driver's ed class to open the door, get out, and go see the officer. No, you don't do that now. The officer thinks, what in the world is this guy getting out of the car for? One reason the officer wants you in the car is you're a little bit safer in the car, because you'll be amazed how many officers got a guy pulled over, and all of a sudden some car takes out the officer's car and the other car, okay? And at the very end of this PowerPoint, I will show you a video on that of an officer getting, he's not getting taken out, he moves out of the way in time. So, the officers fall in the car the pulls over, but he's still kind of halfway on the freeway, half on the shoulder. If you're on the freeway and you get pulled over by the officer, make sure you get way off to the shoulder, but sometimes you don't get a chance to do that. Get way off, okay? And not on the fast lane side, on the slow lane side. So we'll talk about that. Let's go through this PowerPoint. Purpose of the Gold is the Community Safety Act, passed in 2017, inform drivers, public students, and also members of law enforcement. Expect each student to contact between officers and motorists. Okay? The goal is the tension and anxieties that happen at traffic stops. Okay? All right, knowledge and skills. We talked about this, so let's get into this. Why? To keep you safe, to get home safe. All right? Reason for a traffic stop could be a traffic violation. All right? Speeding, tailgating, weaving the lane, improper turn, unsafe passing. You're unbuckled. Yes, you could get a ticket just not being buckled up in the car. Okay? Cell phones, you teenagers, you're not allowed to be on the phone at all. If you're sitting at an intersection holding that phone up, an officer can just pull you over and give you a ticket for it. Okay? He doesn't have to do anything else other than that. Okay? Vehicle malfunctions, tail light out, headlight out, low tire, a backlight. These are some reasons why they would stop you. Okay, restoration expired, license plates. Let's talk about. Remember a long time ago, chapter 2, chapter 3, we talked about doing smile. Okay, seat adjustment, mirror adjustment, indicator lights, lock the doors, engage the seatbelt. What about checking the car before you get out? How about checking your car to see if your lights are working or not? Okay, so an officer may pull you over for stuff like that. Okay, you fit the description of your car fits a description of a person who committed a crime. Okay, vehicle fits a description of the crime. Safe driving. Your vehicle is was used and committed a crime. I got a good story about that. Okay, so one day, and this actually happened on my son's birthday. Okay. And he walked out, going to school. So he wakes up, goes to school, ready to go, walks out. And he goes, "Hey, Dad, are you playing a joke on me? My car's not there. Okay, did you move my car?" So I get out of bed, and all of a sudden I go out there. I go, "No, son, I didn't move your car." Well, not only was his car gone, my daughter's car was gone too. Now, the reason why this is my son and daughter would go we always went in through the garage, and they hang keys on the keychain in the garage. So some kids or whatever, I don't know how old they are or whatever, walked in, was going to steal stuff out of the garage, saw those keys, and took off. The officer came up. When we called, the officer came up and everything. He started talking. And as he started talking, matter of fact, there is a news video. So I don't know, my son's birthday, it would be in August or something. But there's a news video about I was on the news about it too, so it was real funny. It happened right before the Super Bowl. Actually, yeah, no, it happened right before the first playoff or games that were going to be started. So anyway, the officers told me, don't worry, we're going to find them. They're probably using your car to commit another crime. I'm like, oh my gosh. So our car is now on, every police record. So if the license plates pull up, whatever, okay? So all of a sudden, sure enough, literally 3-4 hours later, the officer calls me. He says, I need you to come over to this house. Here's the address. Identify your cars. I walk up, and there's our 2 cars. They were sitting in the garage. They went to an abandoned house right in the middle of a subdivision, some house that nobody's been using or whatever, and they pulled in the garage and had a big party, okay? Didn't do anything to the cars, but they were going to go commit a crime sooner or later, all right? Some neighbor saw this, turned it in because they knew they weren't supposed to be there. Well, I told the officer, okay, I got the cars back, drove the cars back up to the school so the kids could get it. And I said, how long does the cars get off the list? He says it might take 6 or 7 or maybe even 24 hours. So here's my son in the car, scared to death for any police officer to pull him over because they're going to think he is the robber, okay? So you can imagine guns would have been drawn if my son ever got, caught on there. And so this little video and this stuff would have been good for him if we had it, because he would have known exactly what to do when the officer, pulled him over. So very, very good story there. So reactions to being stopped. You're fearful, angry, nervous, target, frustrating, surprised, anxious. Okay? So your inconvenience is probably the biggest one. All right? So you're panicked, whatever, amused. Traffic stops may be an emotional event, but it is not an emotional event for the officer. You don't know where the officer's been. You don't know if the officer pulls you over, right before that pulling you over, he could have been pulled over a guy yesterday or that morning who literally asked for his license and they took a shot at him. You don't know that. Okay? So understand when an officer pulls you over, whether he's just as nervous as you are because he don't know anything about you. So there's certain things that you can do to make the officer at ease. All right? Obviously, one, don't get out of the car like I used to. Okay? So the law is a driver to immediate stop approach by an officer of an emergency vehicle. You're arrested if you don't stop. If you stop in an unsafe location, bridge, or highway, an officer may direct you by over the speaker or whatever to move. All right? I would say this, if you're in the fast lane, don't pull over to that shoulder right there, okay? Right there. Go ahead and change lanes and move over. The officer's on your butt. He knows, man, you're going to make that officer feel good if you're pulling over, okay? And you're making it easier in a safe place, because that officer's just as nervous as you when he gets out of that car, okay? So make it easy on the officer as you get the car positioned. Follow the officer's directions, okay? Possible actions or responsibilities. Slow down, park your car to the right of the road, turn off the main traffic lane. If you're on a street and all of a sudden up ahead, in your brain there is a grocery store up there, or there is a street that you can turn on that's going to have less traffic, yes, please do that, okay? But don't go another 10, 15 miles to do that, all right? Park on the right shoulder if available, okay? On the nearby well-lighted street, yes, definitely do it on a well-lighted street, okay? Parking lot or away from high volume of traffic if shoulder's unavailable, okay? Possible actions or responsibility: place the vehicle in park. Set the emergency brake on, turn off the engine, activate the hazard warning lights. That helps the officer. Activate the hazard warning lights. Okay? All right? At night, turn on the interior dome. So at night, go ahead and turn on all your lights. Boom, 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 boom. Man, that makes that officer really know that you're doing your best to, hey, I didn't do anything wrong here. Why'd you pull me over? Okay. Remain in the car. Lower the driver's window. And I know if it's raining, you know, it's going to be kind of hard to pull that window down. Keep both hands clearly in sight on top of the steering wheel. So keep your hands up here on the steering wheel. Okay. All right. Don't go looking for your license right away. Don't be dipping in the glove box looking for the insurance. You know he's going to ask. Only do it when he asks for you. When he asks for it. Okay. Wait for the law officer to give you instructions. So leave your hands here on the steering wheel until the officer gives you instructions. Only an officer can approach from either side. A lot of them are starting to go like in this picture right here. The officer's right here. They're starting to go to that. They're starting to go to that side, okay, of the car. All right. So be aware of that. All right. Make sure your hands are empty. You should not have nothing in your hands, including cell phone. Okay. Anything in your hands may appear to be a handgun to the officer, so be aware of that. All right? Proper behaviors. Drivers and passengers inside should not attempt. So if you got passengers and they need to stay, put your hands in your lap, so on and so forth, so they can see your hands. Don't reach, dig, search. You know, what are you trying? When you do that, it looks like you're trying to hide something. Okay? Tell the officer transporting any type of weapon, keeping both hands on the top of the steering wheel. Drivers who may transport handguns in the vehicle are encouraged to keep separate documents, insurance. Wait till they ask for you. Get the documents when they ask, okay? Before reaching into your glove box, under the seat, retrieve proof of insurance, license. Inform the officer where the items are, okay? Follow the officer's directions. If stopped by a vehicle, law enforcement may ask you to exit for any reason. If you exit the vehicle, check the passengers, check for passing vehicles and exit safely. Okay. Law enforcement officers and passengers should respond courtesy during the stop. Okay. Driver and passenger should not exit the vehicle unless to do so. Okay. Exit the vehicle may be perceived as aggressive behavior, a threat to the officer. Okay. Advise the passengers to remain in the car unless other instructions are given. Advise the passengers to behave and be courteous. And in conclusion of the traffic stop, give the appropriate turn signals. Safely return to the traffic. When the officer releases you, the officer will wait and wait for you to remove the vehicle first. Okay. Refrain from arguing during the charge. Remember, the charge, the speeding, doesn't mean you're guilty. Anytime you get a ticket, you are not guilty. Okay? You have your due process's rights. A right to remain silent. You know, again, you have your due right to be in court. So be aware of this. Okay? Citing the citation is not admit of guilt. Okay, all it is, you're signing. Look, you'd be amazed how many times I've signed a citation, didn't read it till after I left, and I read it. He didn't even have the right name. Okay, he put me as a female instead of a male. Okay, I've had all those dropped, so be aware of that. Okay, if you wish to contest the charge, you should argue the case in court, not at the thing. Listen, the officer's doing his thing. And he's not always going to say, you know, you're not guilty until you have your day in court. Okay. A judge, you can request a judge or trial. Okay. Take defensive driving to defer adjudication. Okay. Provide assistance to the Texas citizens, enforce the state's traffic laws, ensure making it home safely. Your rights. You have the right to remain silent except for truthful identifying themselves. So you have a right to remain silent, but you have to identify at least say who you are. Okay? Right to refuse to have the vehicle searched. However, if an officer has reason to believe the vehicle contains evidence of a crime, the vehicle can be searched without your consent. Remember, to drive is not a right. It's a privilege. Okay? An officer suspects there's a weapon, the officer may conduct a pat-down search. Okay? Show driver's license, require driver's license. If you do not show your license, tell the officer, name, address, date of birth. Okay? Commit offense if you give false or fictitious information. Okay? If you feel the area is unsafe to stop immediately, or if you have concerns the vehicle is not a real police officer, you can take the following steps to minimize your risk of being arrested, and charges will be filed against you. Turn your hazard lights on, drive slowly and carefully, being posted the speed limit. Okay? You may drive to a nearby well-lighted, populated place to stop, like a gas station or something like that. But turn your hazard lights on. Okay? Offense immediate fleeing from a law enforcement officer. Okay? You had your hazard lights on. He knows you're not fleeing. Okay? Subject to higher penalties if you're using a vehicle or watercraft, fleeing, evade, arrest. Subject to higher penalties if you cause injury to another person. So be aware of all those. We put that in mainly because there has been a tension between the police and people getting pulled over. So be aware of that. All right. Let me go back to one thing. I do want to say this. I don't think you need to tell them everything that's in the car. I don't need you to know, hey, Johnny over there in his before you give everything. Johnny over there has a pocket knife in his pocket, and my dog bites. Look, only answer questions if the guy asks a question. Yes, no. You don't need to elaborate and go on unless the officer asks you a question. That's it. Okay? So we don't need to tell him everything's in a car. A good example. I'll give you a good example. A good example would be I was driving over. I was pulled over by the police, and I just got my prescriptions. Okay? I take a cholesterol medicine, whatever. All right? And he saw the bag there. He says, "What's in the bag?" I said, "It's prescriptions. I just came from Walgreens, got my prescriptions." He said, "Let me see the bag." I'm like, "What?" So I didn't care. It's my prescription. I didn't do it wrong. Gave him the bag. He says, "The only reason I'm asking this is I need to look at the bottle and make sure it's your drugs and not somebody else's drugs, okay? Because then I got to question it." Well, next time I know I'm going to put the bag in my box or whatever, so he doesn't say, "What am I picking up the drugs for my wife, okay, who's sick?" So again, I don't need to tell him, "Hey, there's drugs in the car, my medicine's in the car." I don't need to say that. What I'm trying to say is only ask and answer the questions the guy's asking. He's just wondering why you sped. He's just wondering why whatever happened. So be aware of these things, okay? Again, we talked a little bit about this. I do want to talk a little bit about fatigue, okay? So fatigue. I will show a little thing on fatigue. I was going to show a video on this, but no, what I want to do is talk about fatigue. Is if you get drowsy, you're sleeping, whatever, please, guys, just, get out of the car and go take a rest, okay? Stretch, switch drivers. Man, I ain't ashamed at all. I'm a guy. I ain't ashamed to ask for directions. And I sure ain't, because, man, I want to get to where I'm going in a hurry, okay? And I ain't ashamed. If I'm tired, I look over to my wife and say, "Hey, drive. I'm going to sleep." And literally, I sleep for 10, 15 minutes, and I'm good the rest of the day, okay? So I know when I'm drowsy. I don't try to be a tough man about it. So be aware of this. Fatigue driving. We'll watch this video.
Drinking, drugs, distracted driving, an all too familiar list of the factors that make driving in America a riskier endeavor. But according to a new study, something else is on the road and causing 5,500 traffic deaths each year. John Berman shows us what is happening.
It's troubling to see this sleeping driver veer across a lane completely off the road. It's disturbing to see this teen with his head leaning back snap back awake. Troubling, disturbing, but maybe not surprising. The AAA Foundation says that more than 40% of us admit to falling asleep while driving. 25% say they've taken the wheel in the last month despite being so drowsy they couldn't keep their eyes open. Cab drivers do it, even cops.
The bottom line is that people think they can handle it, but there's no rewards for thinking you can handle it. They actually are not handling it well, and fatal accidents do occur.
AAA estimates nearly 17% of fatal crashes are the result of drowsy driving. It's dangerous even if you don't fall completely asleep.
What does being incredibly sleepy or drowsy do to your body when you're driving?
Well, basically the problem when you're driving is that you can't maintain alertness, your coordination is off, your judgment is off.
Fatigue literally messes with your brain. When your body expects to sleep, it releases chemicals like melatonin. When you force yourself to stay awake, the work your brain is doing to fight these chemicals leaves you in a fog. If you stay up 24 hours, you'd be as impaired as if your blood alcohol level were 0.1%, way over the legal limit, the equivalent of 6 drinks. Doctors say less than 4 hours sleep in a 24-hour period puts you in a drowsy red zone. Be careful. Many accidents may be made worse because your reflexes are so compromised. That's what Alex Noel says happened to him 2 years ago.
Oh my God, I'm off the road, and there's a ditch to my right side, and I freaked out pretty bad.
He nodded off on a dark country road after a high school dance and flipped his truck.
The dashboard was in my lap, the steering wheel was between my legs, and my left arm was crumpled up in front of me.
He was lucky. He emerged with a broken shoulder blade, bruised lung, and nerve damage, but alive. John Berman, ABC News, New York.
Again, medical conditions, you might have some medical conditions, cancer, diabetes, you may take some medicine for that. Again, dangers of fatigue. So if you have problems sitting in a chair and you're always falling asleep, okay, and you're doing this while you're driving, be aware of that. If you've taken medicine that will cause drowsiness, you could be charged with a DUI if they knew you were taking them. So be aware of that. Tylenol, there's a Tylenol PM. You take that and go drive, and you have a crash, you could be charged DUI. All right, so be aware of that. Dangers involving fatigue. Read up on this in your stuff, okay? In effect, myths of fatigue. I always get plenty of sleep. False. Caffeine will help me get over fatigue. No. I can tell when I'm about to fall asleep. No, you don't. All right. Young people need less sleep. False. I'm a safe driver, so it doesn't matter to me if I'm sleepy. No, wrong. So be aware of that. All right. Countermeasures to avoid fatigue: take a break, if possible, to quit less congested route home, drive slower, increase following distance, avoid staring at fixed positions, okay, makes a person become drowsy, okay, get out, stretch, roll down the window, so on and so forth. So be aware of that. All right. Okay, aggressive driver. We're going to talk about a little bit about road rage. Again, I've talked a little bit about this, avoiding the road rage person. I don't even look at them. I've had people come up, and I made an accident. I cut in the lane too soon because I had to get way over here. And the guy comes up by me, and he's shooting the bird. I don't even look at him. And that's probably the biggest thing. Don't even look at them, because all they're trying to do is get your attention, okay, and get you riled up so they can get things going. I don't even look. I don't even acknowledge them. So that's probably the best way to avoid aggressive driver, okay? Drivers are involved in road rage and can cause stress and confrontation and assaults. Collision may happen to injury. Road rage is often brought on by a minor events such as tailgating, disputes a parking lot, refuse to allow the vehicle to pass, cutting off motorists, honking horn, no dimming the headlights, driving too slow, obscene gestures, fender benders, braking and accelerating, and playing the radio out loud. Okay. I had a principal tell me one time when I was teaching school, I was just really ticked off about the lady the other teacher that would come in late, and she would come in late, and she would come in late. And so I just said, I'm going to go in there and tell the principal. I'm just going to tell her, okay? And I was one of the teachers, and I said, listen, this lady always comes in like 45 minutes late. She leaves her daughter and my daughter, blah, blah, blah. And the first words she said to me is, Jeff, you don't know what she has been through. Have you been in her shoes? Bam. Makes sense. Again, on tailgate or road rage people, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if they just lost their job. You don't know if their mother just got shot. You don't know anything. You don't know what they're going through. So don't agitate them. Don't bring it on. Don't look at them. Okay? Just avoid them. Change lanes. Move away from them. Let them get out in front. Okay? So be aware of that on road rage people. Let's watch this video on road rage.
How to prevent road rage. Tailgaters, horn honkers, and jerks who cut you off are enough to drive any driver batty. Here's how to keep your cool behind the wheel. You will need sleep, plenty of time to reach your destination, and patience. Optional, relaxing music, and photos of your loved ones. Step 1. Get plenty of shut-eye. Lack of sleep can make you cranky and prone to feelings of annoyance and anger. Get the recommended 8 hours before your morning commute. Step 2. Allow yourself plenty of time to reach your destination. If you're running late, it's easy to get stressed and lose your temper on the road. Allotting 10 extra minutes for your trip will allow you to handle unexpected delays calmly. Try listening to relaxing music or audiobooks while driving. It can help insulate you from the chaos of the road. Step 3. Take regular breaks when driving long distances to stretch your legs and grab some food. Spending hour after hour in a stuffy car can leave you irritable and frustrated. Step 4. If someone changes lanes without looking, tailgates you, or cuts you off, count to 10 and take a few deep breaths. Losing your temper won't make the other person a better driver, so take the high road and let it go. Road rage can be dangerous and sometimes deadly. Affix a small photo of your loved ones to your dashboard as a reminder of what's at stake. Step 5. An angry driver is looking for a fight, so simply refuse to join in. And don't ever pull off to the side of the road to settle things. Avoid eye contact. Staring at another driver can make an impersonal encounter between two cars personal. Step 6. If you feel like you're unable to control your rage while driving, consult a physician. Doctors have found that road rage may be a symptom of intermittent explosive disorder, which may affect as many as 16 million Americans. Did you know? A study found that drivers with a lot of bumper stickers and decals on their cars are more likely to exhibit road rage.
Okay, again, we're going to keep going through this stuff, reading on. More on road rage. You can read up on those. So driving errors. Driving errors are caused by lack of experience, influenced by peers, influence other drivers, lack of collision, poor visibility, poor skills, whatever. I like this, influenced by peers. Did you know that basically up to 18, you cannot drive anybody up to the age of 18. So hang on, let me rephrase that. What I mean is when you get your permit, and you get your real license. So at day 16, you get your real license and you're driving. One of the laws states no cell phones, no more than one friend in the car. Okay? So that helps. If you got a whole bunch of teenagers, it's written on your permit. It is written on your permit that you are not allowed to text and drive, hand-free, cell phones. Nobody when you're under the age of 18, you cannot have more than one friend in the car, okay? So kind of be aware of some of that stuff. And there's many other on your restrictions, but this helps out right here in driving errors, okay? Now, attention Pebble Trav, driving 5 miles over the speed limit, driving too fast for conditions, fast through the curve, inadequate search, lack of attention, improper evasion, failure to maintain, Visual lead, failure to maintain, act and develop side roadway, following too closely, always taking the right of way. It's my right of way, I'll take the right of way, and other distractions. So be aware of that. Okay? All right, so again, here's some more videos if you want to put those in on YouTube and watch. But other than that, this is basically Module 4. I think coming up here is the quiz. So we're going to do the review. Again, if you want to pause the video, read through them, okay, or take a picture of them, snapshot. I'm just going to read them. I'm not giving you the answers. I want you to go through the learn part to do the answer. Driver readiness means what? Emotions affected by a driver mean what? Number 3, use of mental skills to avoid emergency can involve making bad decisions based on road and traffic conditions. Number 4, which of the following is not a skill required? Fatigue is another word. Okay, blank is the best remedy for fatigue. Road rage is often brought by minor events such as what? The primary cause of aggressive driving is what? When confronted by an aggressive driver, you should what? Okay. And then your true and false, driving social responsibility with rules, regulations. I'm going to let you read through these. You can, I'll pause a little bit and you can take a picture of it, pause the video and take a picture of the video, and then you can blow it up. So other than that, read through those. These will be your review questions you can use as you read through the learn part. Okay, you might see a lot of these on the quiz. All right, thank you.